Hi, I'm Laurel Moe, and today I would like to talk about Tom Saluzzo, social entrepreneur. Kerry Roberts stated that there is no specific definition of an entrepreneur and that studies should focus on what makes them tick. In addition to economic and political entrepreneurs, there are also nonprofit social entrepreneurs who focus on social impact as opposed to financial gain. Accordingly, social entrepreneurs are involved in nonprofit organizations to address community needs. An interview of a local social entrepreneur was conducted to examine the characteristics of an entrepreneur engaged in the development of a nonprofit organization. Tom Saluzzo is president of the Museum of the Great Wars in Kingman, Arizona, that has the mission of sharing the stories of Mojave County veterans with the public, recognition of the Kingman Army Airfield contribution to World War II, and remembrance of the generations who lived and served during the Great Wars. Saluzzo is a local historian who has amassed a large collection of World Wars I and II artifacts, including documents, photographs, uniforms, weaponry, and an aircraft similar to those present at the Kingman Army Airfield during the Second World War. Saluzzo has a passion for history that dates back to his childhood as the son of a career Army non-commissioned officer. Big Think stated in the video, "Don't mistake leadership for management, that entrepreneurship requires vision in addition to business skills." Saluzzo stated that his vision for the Museum of the Great Wars is to create a lasting institution that will continue to preserve the history they have accumulated and share it with the local community. Saluzzo leveraged his commercial experiences to network with local businesses in the fulfillment of his vision. Saluzzo stated that the museum began as a traveling museum and grew from a small Veterans Day display at a local bank into periodic historical exhibitions, involvement in other local community events, and speaking engagements. The traveling museum has been successful during the 5 years that it has been operating due to the integration of vision with business acumen. Saluzzo understands that there are political and cultural sensitivities involved in history museums. He explained that the museum has focused on the two world wars in order to avoid any political controversies associated with later wars. Saluzzo is also aware that there are culturally sensitive issues associated with language in period documents regarding members of nations that the United States was at war with. He is equally attentive to the sensitivities of military veterans who comprise a significant percentage of the local community. Entrepreneurs must be in tune with the political and cultural sensitivities of their market in order to succeed. The Museum of the Great Wars began its transition into a permanent museum this year as it incorporated into a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Saluzzo stated that a commercial property was purchased and fundraising is on track to construct a museum building by summer 2025. Collaboration with local business has indicated that community funding for the museum is sufficient for fiscal operations. Successful entrepreneurship requires a demonstration of a viable product or service, followed by calculated risk in following the plan to the next step after careful consideration of the market. In this case, Saluzzo believes that the museum can operate successfully through support of the local community, grants, and admission fees, and has now taken the risk to financial well-being and business reputation by launching the building of the permanent home of the Museum of the Great Wars. Saluzzo stated that the current plan has the museum opening in 2026. Saluzzo told me prior to the interview that he was a failed entrepreneur from other ventures. Resilience is characteristic of successful entrepreneurs such as Milton Hershey, who failed twice as a candy maker before he was able to achieve his profound success. Other entrepreneurs, such as the Wright brothers, failed as business people, even though they were first to fly a powered, heavier than aircraft due to the inability to stay resilient in the face of adversity. Saluzzo stated that his past experiences are foundational to his business abilities with the museum. Saluzzo stated that the Museum of the Great Wars was not interested in tourism, but rather sought to be a community asset for the sharing of history. In that regard, Saluzzo is a nonprofit social entrepreneur, as described by Christine Ensor in Social Entrepreneurship: Comparison with Nonprofits and Examples. With the social context in mind, one could conclude that entrepreneurship of a nonprofit organization, such as the Museum of the Great Wars, requires the integration of aspects of political, and economic entrepreneurship for it to remain socially relevant and fiscally viable. Thank you.